Right now, some of the most famous lights in Dubai are turning off. One of the most iconic luxury hotels in the city is closing its doors for approximately 18 months. Another highly exclusive property, located inside the Burj Khalifa, has also temporarily shut down. A famous resort along the Dubai Creek has suspended parts of its operations. But one of these hotels is not just renovating for the upcoming season. It is not coming back at all. Which luxury property just permanently vanished from the market? At first glance, the explanation for these closures seems incredibly simple and entirely normal. Dubai is famous for constantly building the future, but its original luxury landmarks are finally getting old. Look at the Burj Al Arab as the primary example. It opened its doors to international guests in 1999. After more than 25 years of continuous operation, it is currently undergoing an approximately 18-month restoration. This was a heavily planned capital decision designed to maintain its status at the absolute peak of the market. There is no valid evidence to suggest this specific closure is due to bankruptcy or a sudden lack of guests. Reuters reported that the operator explicitly did not connect the refurbishment to any regional tourism downturn. For a 25-year-old global landmark, taking rooms offline to upgrade the property is standard hospitality economics. The building requires structural maintenance, technological upgrades, and aesthetic modernization to justify its premium pricing. The mystery of the dark hotels appears to be completely solved, except that explanation completely falls apart once you move offshore. Just a few miles away from the mainland sits the Anantara World Islands Dubai Resort. When it opened in 2021, it was a massive milestone for offshore hospitality. It was the very first hotel to begin operating on the massive World Islands project. Guests reached its 70-room suites and villas via a dedicated boat transfer from the mainland. It was a modern property designed to prove that the offshore archipelago could function as a real luxury destination. The operator invested heavily in creating an exclusive, isolated experience that rivaled remote island destinations. But in April 2026, Anantara World Islands permanently ceased operations. The operator, Minor Hotels, stated that the closure resulted from a combination of external factors. They deliberately did not attribute it to one single isolated issue. This is not a temporary refurbishment or a scheduled upgrade to prepare for the winter months. This is a luxury resort that simply did not survive to see the next season. And the story of empty rooms does not stop on the island. If we look across the city, a strange and undeniable pattern emerges. The Armani Hotel Dubai is undergoing a refurbishment phase. The Park Hyatt Dubai is managing a significant renovation. The Radisson Blu Dubai Media City has entered a repositioning phase to adjust its market strategy. Even the St. Regis Dubai The Palm has experienced partial refurbishments, with some areas temporarily unavailable to guests. We are looking at completely different ownership groups. We are looking at entirely different properties targeting different demographics. They are all citing different operational reasons for taking inventory offline. Yet they are going dark in the same city at almost exactly the same moment. And this could all still be dismissed as a pure coincidence of scheduling. Except the fundamental hospitality numbers began weakening at precisely the same time. To understand the timing of these decisions, we have to look at the sharp contrast in the data. 2025 was a record-breaking year for Dubai tourism. The city achieved 19.59 million international overnight visitors. Average hotel occupancy for the full year sat at an impressive 80.7%. Hotels were full, and the revenue streams were highly predictable. But the first half of 2026 told a very different economic story. The average hotel occupancy for the first half of the year hovered around 56.4%. By June 2026, that occupancy rate had dropped to approximately 51.6%. The average daily rate for the first half of the year sat at approximately 701 dirhams and 10 fils. This represented a drop of roughly 7% in pricing power. More importantly, the revenue per available room fell dramatically to approximately 395 dirhams and 70 fils. This metric, known as RevPAR, dropped by more than 35% in the first half of the year. By June, RevPAR was down nearly 39%. Revenue per available room is not just a secondary accounting figure. It is the absolute baseline of hospitality survival. If a hotel drops its daily rate to maintain high occupancy, the lobby might look completely full. But the profit margins required to maintain five-star service are quietly eroding. When RevPAR drops by more than 35%, the fundamental mathematics of operating a luxury building change. Now the closures have undeniable context. The numbers give us the symptoms of a shifting market, but they still do not give us the entire cause. What exactly hit demand so fast? This is the point where the story is most easily misunderstood by outside observers. Hotels going dark does not automatically mean that Dubai luxury is failing. The Burj Al Arab is not proof of a market collapse. The Park Hyatt is simply investing in its future through renovation. Many of these closures were carefully planned capital investments scheduled years in advance. Even the permanent closure of Anantara was attributed to a mix of external variables rather than a single definitive failure of the city. Therefore, equating closed doors with industry bankruptcy is factually incorrect. But that does not make the timing of these closures meaningless. It makes the timing far more interesting. If completely different closures are happening while demand is simultaneously weakening, there is a mechanical connection. The weak market is actively changing the economics of when owners choose to renovate, reposition, or exit entirely. A luxury hotel has incredible control over the environment inside its own walls. An operator can always lower a room rate, redesign a lobby, or introduce a new dining concept to attract attention. But a hotel cannot manufacture an international tourist who cannot easily reach Dubai. The hospitality weakness in the first half of 2026 coincided with severe external pressures. There was significant regional disruption that altered travel patterns. There was reduced international air connectivity that limited the sheer volume of arriving passengers. JLL explicitly linked the softer Dubai hotel performance partly to subdued long-haul international demand. Traveler confidence simply shifted in response to global events. If demand is significantly weaker, it raises a massive logical question. Why would hotel owners voluntarily remove even more rooms from the market when they need every single guest they can get? The answer lies in the harsh reality of opportunity cost. Summer is traditionally a quieter period for hospitality across the United Arab Emirates. Hotels frequently use these lower demand months for scheduled maintenance and refurbishments. But when the broader market weakens significantly, the economic calculation completely changes. If a property is operating at near total capacity, closing a floor for renovation means sacrificing a massive amount of guaranteed daily revenue. The opportunity cost of upgrading the building is incredibly high. If demand is already soft, the revenue sacrificed by taking that same floor offline is significantly lower. This creates a strange reality in the hospitality business. A weak market can actually be one of the least painful times to take inventory offline. The weakest moment for the city can become the cheapest moment to disappear from it. This completely shifts how we should view these dark windows across the skyline. Going dark does not always mean a property has failed. Sometimes going dark simply means an owner is using a quiet period to aggressively reinvest. Just as that economic logic seems to settle the mystery, the data introduces a massive new contradiction. Dubai is not just renovating its older properties. The city is actively expanding its total hotel supply at an extraordinary pace. According to recent market reporting, there are approximately 39 new hotels currently in the pipeline. This pipeline represents roughly 9,520 additional rooms scheduled to enter the market between 2026 and 2029. By the end of 2026 alone, the city expects to add approximately 3,150 of those rooms. Not all of these are ultra-luxury properties, but they all compete for the same overall pool of international visitors. Real estate pipelines do not care about temporary fluctuations in airline bookings. When a developer breaks ground on a luxury tower, They are making a bet on the market conditions 3 to 5 years in the future. This creates a profound paradox in the current market. Certain iconic properties are currently taking rooms offline. Average revenue per available room dropped by more than 35% in the first half of the year. Yet thousands of brand new rooms are still preparing to open their doors. What happens to the market if the new rooms arrive faster than the missing guests return? To answer that, we have to look closely at the two completely different categories of closed hotels. On one side, we have the Burj Al Arab. Its management is spending substantial capital to upgrade the building so it can eventually re-enter the market. It is going dark specifically so it can come back stronger and command premium rates in the future. On the exact opposite side, we have the Anantara World Islands. That property closed permanently and is not coming back at all. This divergence forces us to ask a much larger question. Why does one owner view taking a landmark offline as a necessary investment, while another operator decides that a luxury resort should permanently vanish? The original question was simply why the hotels were going dark. But the new question is which darkness is temporary and which darkness tells us the business model no longer makes sense. The difference between temporary darkness and permanent darkness reveals which parts of the Dubai hospitality machine are still functioning, and it reveals which parts are quietly breaking under the pressure. The pressure on these owners is not just about the total volume of tourists arriving at the international airport. The type of customer walking into the lobby is also fundamentally changing. Recent reports from operators in the region highlight a distinct shift in guest behavior. They are seeing softer overall demand combined with significantly shorter booking windows. Guests are no longer planning luxury trips 6 months in advance. Tourists are becoming far more selective with their discretionary spending. They are displaying greater price sensitivity when comparing accommodation options. This highlights a critical reality of luxury hotel economics that is rarely discussed. A room can technically be occupied but still produce terribly weak financial results. If guests demand lower base rates, spend less on premium dining, avoid expensive spa experiences, and require heavy incentives just to book a stay, the operating margins completely collapse. The central question for an owner is never just whether a physical room is occupied. The real question is whether it is occupied at a price point that justifies the enormous daily operating costs of a luxury building. This changing consumer behavior is exactly why the severe drop in revenue per available room is such a heavy blow to the industry. So let us look at the pieces we have assembled in this investigation so far. One group of famous hotels is spending massive amounts of money to come back stronger. One famous offshore resort evaluated the market and decided not to come back at all. Room economics weakened sharply during a period of disrupted international connectivity. The guests who do arrive are becoming far more protective of their travel budgets. And despite all of these headwinds, thousands of new hotel rooms are still under construction across the city. The fundamental story here is not a simple industry collapse. It is a brutal financial stress test for every single property in the market. The real question is not why they are turning off the lights. It is which ones have the financial endurance to actually turn the lights back on. Just when the market conditions appeared to be at their absolute weakest, the narrative shifted yet again. The hospitality industry is highly cyclical, and early indicators suggest that demand is already fighting its way back. On July 30, 2026, Reuters reported a significant turning point for the city. The massive hospitality operator Accor stated that Dubai had officially returned to year-on-year growth in July. They noted that overall occupancy levels across their properties were actively improving. International connectivity is gradually stabilizing as airlines adjust their routes. Expectations for the upcoming winter season are growing stronger across the sector. The tourists are clearly beginning to return to the beaches and the shopping districts. But this early recovery introduces the final and most difficult test for the entire market. Is the returning demand actually fast enough to feed both the newly built hotels and the older properties that just spent fortunes on renovations? Dubai is rapidly discovering the hidden cost of being a mature luxury destination. Building a world-class hotel the first time is incredibly expensive. Keeping it at a world-class standard for 2 decades is another expense entirely. The earliest icons of the Dubai skyline are now competing against next-generation inventory. A 25-year-old landmark must fight for relevance against newly built hotels featuring modern room layouts. They must compete with advanced environmental technology and entirely new dining concepts that younger tourists demand. For these older properties, refurbishment is never merely a cosmetic choice about changing the carpets. It is a highly expensive structural necessity to defend their premium positioning in a brutally crowded market. They have to constantly reinvent their physical spaces just to justify charging the same high rates they commanded 10 years ago. This is the core capital expenditure problem facing every original luxury hotel in the city. This reality brings us straight back to the permanent closure of the Anantara resort on the World Islands. Why could a mainland landmark like the Burj Al Arab easily justify an 18-month restoration? And why did a relatively new offshore resort reach a completely different and permanent outcome? The answer lies in the sheer friction of operating an isolated property during a softening market. A mainland hotel benefits from an invisible network of public infrastructure. Guests can walk out the front doors and instantly access highways, municipal power grids, and urban water networks. An offshore resort has to internalize all of those systems. It requires dedicated boat transfers for every single arriving guest and departing employee. It requires complex supply chains just to restock the kitchens and supply fresh linens. When the overall market is booming and tourists are aggressively spending, this logistical friction is easily disguised as an exclusive luxury experience. But when international demand softens and guests become highly sensitive to both price and convenience, that isolation stops being a luxury selling point. It becomes a fatal operational liability. This helps explain why the operator cited a combination of external factors rather than a single dramatic failure. In a tightening market, the properties with the most difficult operating logistics and the narrowest customer bases are always the first to find the environment unviable. This brings us to the ultimate test for the future of the Dubai hospitality sector. The city is still preparing to absorb roughly 9,520 new hotel rooms between 2026 and 2029. At the exact same time, older iconic properties are spending fortunes to upgrade their facilities and return to the active market. When those renovated hotels finally turn their lights back on, they will need to charge premium rates to recover their heavy capital investments. But they will be competing in a market heavily flooded with brand new inventory. Even if the July recovery indicators hold strong into the winter season, the underlying math requires a continuous surge of high-spending tourists. The market does not just need the original volume of guests to return, it needs enough relentless demand to fill both the aggressive new supply and the newly expensive older rooms simultaneously. So why are Dubai luxury hotels going dark all at once? The answer is that they are caught in the middle of a massive structural reset of the entire hospitality machine. This is not the collapse of the city tourism industry. It is a brutal financial stress test, exposing the completely different layers of the market. When you look across the skyline today, a dark building can mean 2 completely different things. For a property with deep financial backing and a prime mainland location, going dark is a highly strategic investment to defend its long-term legacy. For an isolated property with heavy logistical friction and a narrower target audience, going dark simply means the business model broke. The true test for Dubai is no longer whether it can keep building spectacular luxury hotels. The real question is whether international demand, pricing power, and constant reinvestment can actually keep pace with the enormous luxury machine the city has already built. This video is for educational and analytical purposes, relying on available market data and industry reporting as of mid-2026. Hospitality markets are highly volatile, and this content does not constitute financial or investment advice. Which type of luxury property do you think will dominate the future of Dubai? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more investigations into the systems that run our world.